welcome back to the channel. We're on a new location, as you can see. All right. So in this video today, I'm going over like layering up and understanding how to keep yourself warm. All right. So it doesn't matter if this is your everyday, you're going from your home to the store kind of thing like that. All right. If we're wanting to be prepared, all right, every day should be our starting blocks, right? And so just because we think we're gonna take a quick trip to the store and then we're coming back means we can put on shorts, t-shirt, and a jacket and we're good, all right? So forward thinking says anything could happen, all right? So I guarantee you there were people that were going just one exit up a couple years ago on 95 when it got shut down, all right? And people were stuck out there. Do you want to be that guy that's stuck in your car overnight for several hours because you needed to go up the next exit and now you can't walk back? You have to stay in your vehicle because no cars are moving and stuff like that. And now you got to do it in a t-shirt and a jacket. So, all right. Just because it's a personal warming item doesn't mean that it has to be worn all the time. It could stay in your vehicle. All right. So let's start from head and go to our toes. All right. So I wear ball caps all the time. I don't think I've ever done a video where I didn't have one. So with this, all right, I like the longer style Carhartt beanies, all right, because I'm able to put it over that hat and still be able to cover my ears the way I want to, unlike a traditional beanie that's a lot shorter and like barely comes down over the ears. All right. The reason why I like doing this instead of just dropping this and wearing this all the time is the fact that I run hot constantly. All right. So I could go to a place that's like 70 degrees inside and now I want to take this off, but I still want to not have my hair just all over the place kind of deal. All right. I like to feel comfortable when I have to and be prepared for when I'm going back out in the elements. All right. So I prefer a long beanie like this that can go over my hat. All right. Cover those ears and keep my head warm. All right. Next, when we're talking about the body, all right. So I love hoodies. Hoodies are my favorite attire in the winter. All right. But the way I build on this, all right, like right now, I just have a simple t-shirt on underneath, and then I just have this hoodie, and this hoodie is pretty thick, all right? I'm starting to notice, though, that not a lot of hoodies are thick anymore. They're getting thinner and thinner, all right? So be mindful of the hoodie that you get because it may not keep you warm like you think it will, all right? So I'll show you just how I do my layering situation for my everyday and my work. All right. So whether it's my work shirts here or my everyday shirts in the winter, I'm trying to use something that is a moisture wicking material. All right. So this is Under Armour. All right. And it's just their moisture wicking performance fabric. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it wicks any sweat away and it doesn't hold that moisture to where I get cold when I stop doing whatever it is I'm doing. All right. The same thing with my other work shirts. They are Under Armour breathable material for the summer when this is it, and as a base layer for me as I am working. All right. So that's the t-shirt route. All right. The other thing I like to wear are the long sleeve version of these. All right. So that means I will keep a t-shirt if we're like above 35 to 40s. All right. And higher. I'm going to do t-shirt. But if we're getting into single digit temperatures and below freezing, all right, and we're then going into the negatives, I'm going to start wearing a long sleeve, moisture wicking, breathable fabric. All right. So the stuff I have is not some expensive, like over-engineered $250 thing. Like I got this at a Hot Springs in Montana, I think for like 35 bucks. All right. It's a fishing shirt is technically what it is. It's what you see most people wearing when they're fishing. But I have a crap ton of those, and that is more so the base layer that I have for the winter. All right. So from there, we're going to the next layer, and if we're trying to be nicer looking, I'll wear a quarter zip because that's my wife's preferred over the hoodies. And this one is a little bit thicker, but it's also still like a nice soft material that is still able to breathe. All right. Breathing is important just as it is in the summer for moisture to burn away from or not burn away, but evaporate away from you and off of your skin. All right. Because if you're doing work, you don't want that sweat to stick to you in the cold, stick to your clothes, and then your clothes stick to you, because it's going to zap that body heat out quicker. All right. So you want a couple layers that are breathable. All right. And then hoodies, like I talked about, that's going to be my second and third layer depending on how cold it is. Right. And then I have jackets that are in my vehicles because I don't like to drive with all the layers. But if I'm going to be going out, so we took our daughter to a winter festival, all right, and it's all outside. So she's bundled up. We're bundled up because it's like, I don't remember, like low 30s or something, high 20s. So we bundled up. I had 2 long sleeves, a hoodie, and then that coat. All right. So keeping the core warm is, I would say 90% of it. All right. Because if you're keeping your core warm, you're going to keep your appendages warm and you're going to keep your limbs warm. All right. So we now have talked about the body. Let's talk about the hands. All right. So I have a couple different options for gloves. All right. And so one of my first gloves that would be a layer for the layering system would be just a thin hunting glove for all of the times of year in which hunting is in season. All right. So this I get, so most of my gloves I get in a smaller size. So I would technically be a large, all right, but gloves will stretch for the most part. So I get a medium and it fits my hand and it helps my dexterity, all right? I'm terrible at using gloves to be able to pick up things and stuff like that. And the reason why is the stitching is my biggest thing. All right. So watch that, learn from that, understand what it is you're capable of doing with what gloves. All right. But the reason why I do this is because if it's archery and it's still early season, it's a thin glove. It covers up my white pasty hands when I'm doing archery. All right. So it has a texture, so I'm able to hold that bow and I'm still able to do the trigger and hold where I have to hold for all that stuff. All right. So now we get into more cold temperatures, more into the December gun season. All right. So what I do with that is I have my hunting glove, right? I have that glove on. Then I have a glove that has the fingertips out of it. So I'm able to still use a good trigger finger when hunting. But when I don't have anything around me, I can throw that mitten over there, and this is wool. And so it's creating a warm barrier for me. But I'm also able to pop that out and use dexterity. These I like because it's a magnetic clip to keep it in place. But that is a lot of my go-to for hunting. All right. If we're talking about a pair of glove to keep in the car for roadside emergencies and stuff, all right, most of the time you're going to have a couple options where you have your jersey gloves or you have mechanics gloves. All right. So I love mechanics gloves, but I will tell you right now, they don't keep your hands warm too long. All right. So one of the things that I started doing is I have a pair of jersey gloves that I cut the fingertips out of, kind of like the same principle as with this, to where I have my fingertips, and I put it over and it creates a layer to trap hot air to keep my hand warm. All right. And it's a cheap trick. You don't have to spend a crap ton of money in order to be able to stay warm. All right. You can layer up how you want to. Like I've always said, you can spend as little or as much money as you want. All right. So do with that what you will. All right. But I will say, if we're going to be in colder temperatures, an actual insulated leather glove is a pretty good thing to have as well. I've had these for a couple years now, but I never really owned a pair that was this heavy duty and thick with insulation until I was working construction in Montana. And so you got negative 35-degree days and you're not calling off. All right. So you want to be able to stay warm on those job sites. So find the glove that fits, and I test gloves. All right. If you're large, all right, and you put it on and like it already feels loose, I'm going to tell you now, it's going to get looser. All right. It's going to break in and it's not going to be as tight. So I always go down, test it for yourself, figure out what it is you have to do. All right. So that's a basic understanding of gloves. All right. You can find actual clothing brands out there that have layering kits with all their stuff. So do your research, look into things, and figure out what the best option is for you on them. All right. So the next one, in my everyday, I don't usually wear a underlayer for pants, but for hunting, I do. So I have some pretty much like I don't even know what they're Under Armour performance apparel. There's not a name to it, so I don't know exactly what it is, but they're Under Armour, and they're a insulated material. They're not fleece or anything like that, because even when I'm in like negative temperatures, my legs are sweating, and fleece, it's just, I hate it. All right. So I still go for thinner material. My wife, she wears my fleece pants now because I just can't do it anymore. So that would be my hunting base layer right there. And then on top of that, I would have a pant. Let me actually show you the pants I rock. So these are redhead pants. All right. So these are super thin. I don't know if you'd actually see, it's almost see-through kind of deal. All right. You can see light through it pretty easy. So I really do like a thinner pair of pants just because I do build up a lot of heat when walking and hunting. All right. I'm not great. My ADHD doesn't allow me to sit in a stand or sit in a blind. So like I showed you guys in the other video, I like to do that saddle hunting now, because if I'm in a spot and nothing's happening and I don't feel confident in that spot anymore, I can break down equipment. I can move to another spot. All right. I can move to 2 or 3 spots in the morning and 3 in the evening very easily. And so you'll be walking. And so you, for me at least, you don't want to be sweating too much to where once you get back up in the stand, now you're going to start freezing in the wind because your body got a little moisture on it and now that wind's cutting through harder. So I go a little bit thinner on the base layers for the bottoms. All right. But understand that layering is a good thing. All right. And understand how much is too many layers. All right. And like I said, not all this has to be carried on you at all times. You could keep, like I do, these gloves stay in my truck. All right. This hat stays in my truck. These gloves, I have a pair in the truck and I have a pair in the house. And then for hunting gloves and stuff like that, I have a couple pairs of each kind, because one is none and two is one. All right. So socks, the other thing, I believe in good wool socks. If you're cold, if your feet are cold, good wool socks are going to save you. Wool is one of the best insulating materials out there. It can get wet and still provide insulation and keep your feet warm even when the material is wet. All right. You could even get some merino wool for summertime socks and not just wintertime socks. All right. It's also antibacterial and stuff like that. There are a lot of things out there that look like wool, but find the tag and find out exactly what it's made of, because if it's got any type of cotton in it, it's going to hold moisture and it's going to make you cold. All right. Cotton's great in certain areas, but in staying warm and dry, cotton's not our friend. All right. So I hope this helped you guys. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments. God bless, and see you guys in the next video.